What is going on, guys? It's ThePowerBauer 2 here. So we recently had a Nintendo Direct where it was revealed that Isabelle will be a new fighter in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And I don't want to toot my own horn, but I did predict she'd be in the game. Although, to be fair, I did say she would be an Echo fighter, which she isn't, but whatever. So far, I have made 4 videos covering characters who will not be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and you guys have been enjoying these so much. So I decided that we should make one final video to cap off the list at 50 characters, because any more and I think we'd be scraping the complete bottom of the barrel. I mean, that's if we already aren't. So again, the rules are that these characters must originate in a video game for them to qualify for this list, and that's the only stipulation. With all of that out of the way, it's time to look at the final 10 characters who will not be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. Let us begin. With the addition of King K. Rool into Smash Ultimate, I don't think we will be getting any more Donkey Kong characters, and if we did, I think it would have to be Dixie Kong. But this means that Cranky Kong, Candy Kong, and my thick boy, Chunky Kong, will not be added. These are all grouped together because they all fall on this list for the same reason. I already mentioned that Funky Kong won't be in the game, but I never mentioned that the rest won't be because they are not nearly as popular as Funky. Dixie is the only one with a chance in my eyes because she has been around as a playable character since the Donkey Kong Country days. And yes, I needed to mention that because so many people tried to correct me by saying that Funky Kong was in Donkey Kong Country, but he wasn't playable. That is what I meant. Maybe that wasn't clear, but it doesn't matter. None of the Kongs I mentioned will be playable except for maybe Dixie. Now, for some reason, I have seen a couple people mention this next character, which I don't understand. Kraid will not be playable in Smash Bros. Ultimate. I feel like this one is kind of obvious because there are loads of reasons why he won't be in the game. For one, he's in the background of one of the stages, Brinstar Depth, so that already sort of rules him out. Plus, they already added one Metroid villain in Ridley, and I highly doubt they would add 2. And lastly, if you thought Ridley was too big, look at this motherfucker! He's huge! They couldn't scale Kraid down in any way possible that would make sense. They were able to do it with Ridley, but that was probably only because of how requested he was, so they just had to make it work. Kraid doesn't have nearly the same support as Ridley, and he will not be a playable fighter. This next character low-key makes me sad that he won't be a fighter, but he has no chance. That will be Professor Egad. He debuted in Luigi's Mansion on the GameCube and has made several appearances over the years. He is an inventor and makes tons of different machines. It would be cool to see his moveset based around all the different things he has built over the years, including Flood, the Poltergust, and even Bowser Jr.'s paintbrush. Sadly though, he has no chance. He's an old man and obviously isn't a fighter. That's why he builds these machines and just makes the Mario Brothers do everything for him. He's actually kind of a manipulative mastermind when you think about it. He may appear in the new Luigi's Mansion game for the Switch, but that's the only argument you can make. Plus, that game isn't going to come out until next year, and I just don't think he's requested enough. My second favorite Zelda game of all time is Skyward Sword. I know, I'm weird. So I would love to have a character from that game in Smash Bros. Sadly, the only character with any real chance is Girahim, and he won't be playable. He is the main villain of the game. Well, I guess you could argue Demise is the main villain, but he doesn't really appear until the end, but whatever. You battle Girahim throughout the game, and he has so many different moves he could use. He's obviously a very skilled swordsman, so I think that would be his normal attacks, but his little orb things could be a special attack, and his final smash could be him turning into a sword form and just slashing everyone off the map. It would be so cool, but he's not nearly requested enough. Sure, he has his fans like me, but Skyward Sword is almost universally known as the worst 3D Zelda game, and I don't think they would want to bring a character from that game in Smash, especially over characters from beloved games like Majora's Mask or Breath of the Wild. I would love to have him added, but I just can't see it happening. With Isabelle coming to Smash and a new Animal Crossing game coming out next year, many people want more Animal Crossing representation. The only other character that would make any sense would be Tom Nook, but he won't be playable. After the Isabelle reveal, the trailer skipped to a scene with Tom Nook, and so many people were thinking that they were about to reveal him as a player. Sadly, I can't show that scene because it's copyrighted. Thanks, Nintendo! But Tom Nook doesn't fit the Smash style. He's a damn shop owner and one of the calmest souls in all of Animal Crossing, which is impressive with how calm that game is. Plus, I think Animal Crossing has enough representation in Smash. Believe me, I love the series, but I don't think we really need any more than Villager and Isabelle. Let's just be happy that they actually made Isabelle her own fighter and not Neko fighter. Tom Nook won't be a fighter. Klaus from Mother 3 will not be playable either. First off, if you don't know, Klaus is the older brother of Lucas, and he plays a big role in Mother 3, which is why many people want him. But he won't be playable in the game for a number of reasons. First off, Lucas already has a color scheme based off him, so that's kind of his representation in the game already. But the bigger reason is that the game has never been released on any form of Nintendo hardware outside of Japan. The game was released in 2006 and still has not been brought overseas. It was released on the Virtual Console for the Wii U, but guess where it was released? Yep. Only in Japan. I don't know why they continuously refuse to bring this game outside of Japan, but that's the reason why I don't think he will be in Smash Bros. Unless they shock the world and add it to the Virtual Console for the Switch worldwide, which is very unlikely, Klaus will not be playable. There have been many rumors and quote-unquote leaks floating around over the past few months, and one in particular really needs to be shut down. This one said that Gardevoir will be added with Gothitelle as an Echo fighter. I will give you the point that these two Pokemon could function as Echo fighters, and it would make sense to add a Gen 3 and a Gen 5 Pokemon, as they are currently the only generations with no representation. Well, besides Gen 7. But just ask yourself, why would they add these two specifically? Sure, Gardevoir has its admirers, but Gothitelle is not that popular of a Pokemon. I do think they would be cool as fighters with all of their psychic and ghost attacks, but then I also think they might be too similar to Mewtwo. And if they are gonna add a new Pokemon, it will likely be either a Gen 7 or a Gen 8 Pokemon, because Gen 7 is the most recent, and Gen 8 would be a good way to hype up the new games coming next year. I don't know how anyone believed this rumor, but Gardevoir and Gothitelle will not be playable. My favorite Kirby game of all time is Kirby 64, but sadly, Adeline will not be a fighter in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. She did recently appear in Kirby Star Allies as a dream friend, but she still won't be a fighter. I do think it would be really cool to see her moveset around her painting and bringing a different monster to life or just covering them in paint, although the Inklings already kind of do that. She does have her fans, but she's not even the most requested Kirby character. That would be Bandana Waddle Dee, and I think he has the best chance of any of the remaining Kirby characters to be added. He just feels like a staple to the Kirby franchise and is the last of the 4 major playable characters from the recent Kirby games to be added. We obviously have Kirby, DDD, and Meta Knight, so all we need is Bandana Waddle Dee. He will outshine Adeline in any polls or votes, so sadly, she has basically no chance. At one point, I thought this next character actually had a decent chance to be in the game, but I've slowly lost hope. Springman from ARMS won't be playable. ARMS is an original title for the Nintendo Switch that had a lot of hype and marketing surrounding it around the release of the Nintendo Switch. It definitely has its fans, but it never really seemed to reach the size that Nintendo was expecting. Don't get me wrong, it's not a bad game, but its popularity definitely died down since its release, which makes me think he won't be added. His moveset would be really simple, since because ARMS is also a fighting game, they could just basically take his moveset from that game and translate it over. But like I said, he's not popular enough. Maybe if they are intending on making an ARMS 2, they could add him or maybe a new character from that game, but even though I don't think the popularity will allow them to be added. And now, the 50th and final character who will not be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is Goomba. Yep, I know this is probably the most anticlimactic ending to this series I possibly could have ever made, but I really wanted to add Goomba onto this list. He would be the greatest troll character that Sakurai could add, and I would be so happy if he's playable, but he won't, sadly. All Goomba does is walk around. He doesn't even jump! What would his moveset be? I also added him because someone in the comments was saying that the Goomba still had a chance because I hadn't mentioned him yet. Well, here you go. Sorry to burst your bubble, but we are going to be able to play as him in Super Mario Party, and that is good enough for me. So there we have it. Those were the final 10 characters who will not be in Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I know I said I was going to end the series after 3 parts, but you guys wanted more, so I made 2 more for you guys and gals. But this is really the end this time. Any more videos and I'll be adding super obvious characters. I mean, I added Goomba in this video, so you can tell we were running low on ideas. But please, let me know what you thought about this list in the comments down below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and consider subscribing if you're new here. I make lots of different speculation, review, and other gaming content, which I would love for you to check out. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and I will see all of you guys next time. Bye-bye.